So today we're looking at section 5.1, finding out how to graph cubic functions. So we're just kind of going to start by messing around with the graphs and see what happens. So the first one we're going to graph is the function x cubed. I've already got that here on the graph. So a couple of key points, kind of reference points you can use, is going to be here at 0, 0. There's going to be a point at 1, 1, and at -1, -1. And then we're going to run out of room on our graph. But the next one is going to be at -2, -8, and that's +2, +8. So those are the ones we're going to have in our graph here. So this is our basic graph for x cubed. So domain, remember, is all of the possible x values. So if you notice, we're going down and to the left. So since we're going down and left forever, and then up and right forever, that's going to encompass all of the x values. So the domain is going to be all real numbers here for the domain. The range, again, it's going down forever and it's going up forever. So that means the range is going to be all real numbers. It's going from -infinity to +infinity. And behavior, we look two directions. First, we look as x goes to +infinity. What does f of x do? So as we look to the right on our graph, as we move to the right, what are the y values doing? Well, the y values are going up forever. So as x goes to infinity, f of x is going to go to infinity as well. It's going up. As x goes to -infinity is the other place we look. So now we're looking at our graph. As we go further and further left, what are the y values doing? Well, the y values as we go left are going down. So as x goes to -infinity, f of x is going to -infinity as well. Zeros. Zeros are where we cross or touch the x-axis. So that's happening just at x equals 0. Positive values. Positive values are where does our function exist above the x-axis. So that's going to start here where x is 0. And then as we move to the right, all these values up here, up and to the right, are all positive values. So that means our x values from 0 to +infinity are going to be positive because they are up in quadrant 1. Whereas the negative values is where does our function exist below the x-axis. So that means we're looking over here, we're going down and to the left. So that means everywhere from the smallest x values over there to the left at -infinity, all the way up to 0 are where the values are negative. Increasing, we're looking where does our function have a positive slope. We're looking for a positive slope looks something like this. Well, if you notice the whole time our function does something like that, it's actually increasing on the whole graph. So from -infinity to +infinity, and it's not decreasing anywhere because it always has a positive slope. Even, odd, and neither. So the important thing to remember is what even and odd are. So for a function to be odd, take f of -x, it should be -f of x. This is for odd. Even, we take f of -x, it's going to be the same thing as f of x. So just for ease of use here, we're gonna pick an x value. So I'm gonna say, let's check when x is 2. So first we're gonna check what's f of -x. So what's f of -2? Well, if we take our function, f of x equals x cubed, that means we plug in -2 into our function. -2 cubed ends up being -8. So that's f of -x, f of x, which is our 2. So we plug 2 into our function. 2 cubed is +8. So since f of -x is negative of f of x, this function is going to be odd. So if we want to graph our next function, so this time we have f of x equals -x cubed. So let's go ahead and grab our calculator here. We're going to change up our picture here. So now we have -x to the 3rd power, -x cubed. We graph, maybe, there it goes. Now you'll notice our graph has flipped direction. So now our point is at 0, 0. We had -1, +1, +1, -1. -2, +8, and +2, -8. Now our function looks something like this. Domain, we're still thinking about what are all the possible x values that can happen. Well, on the left, our function is going up and to the left forever. We're also going down and to the right forever. So since we're going left forever and right forever, our domain is still all real numbers. Range, again, we're going up forever and we're going down forever. So our range is going to be all real numbers. And behavior, we look as x goes to positive infinity. So as we look to the right side of our graph, what does f of x do? So as x goes to infinity, as we move to the right, what are the y values doing? They're going down. So f of x goes to -infinity. We also look as x goes to -infinity. So now we're looking on the left side of our graph. What are the y values doing? Well, as we look to the left of our graph, this time the y values are going up to positive infinity. Zeros, we're still happening at x equals 0. That's the only time we're touching the x-axis. Positive values. So again, this is where we're above the x-axis. So that's over here on the left side of our graph. So it's up and to the left. So that means our positive values will start to the left at -infinity, coming up here to 0 where it's changing. So our negative values where we exist below the x-axis. That starts at 0 and goes down into the right forever. Since we're going to the right forever, it's going from 0 to positive infinity. Now this time the general shape of our graph is more like this. That's decreasing. So that means we're increasing nowhere. There's no spot where we're increasing, we're decreasing the whole way. So from -infinity to infinity, you're decreasing. And this function is still going to be odd. Things are getting a little more complicated. Let's check out what this graph is going to look like. Hopefully you know from what we've previously done with graphing what some of these numbers will have an effect on our graph here. X minus 1, that's cubed. Get myself out of the power, and then -1. Let's see what this graph looks like. Okay, so if we go to the table, we can pick out a couple of values to graph for ourselves. Let's see, which one should we pick here? So you got, let's go ahead and pick 0, -3, 1, -1, and 2, 1. We'll just pick those first three values. So let's graph those here. 0, -3, 1, 2, 3. 1, -1, that's up here. And then 2, 1. So it's got the same general shape. I didn't do a very good job there. But the same general shape. So when we talk about the domain, again, we're thinking all of the possible x values that can happen. We're going down into the left forever. We're going up into the right forever. Domain is all real numbers since we're going left and right forever. Range, we're going down forever. We're going up forever. All real numbers for the range there as well. And behavior. As x goes to infinity, so as we move to the right on our graph, what are the y values doing? They are going up, up, up. F of x is going to positive infinity. And as x goes to -infinity, as we look to the left of our graph, where are the y values going? They're going down. They're going to -infinity. Zeros. This is where we cross the x-axis. This one, it's changed. If you want to do it on your calculator, you can actually plot a line at y equals 0, since that's the x-axis. And it'll graph it there, but you can't see it. You can do second calc, find the intersect by 5. Pick your two curves, pick your guess, and there it's telling us our intersection is about x equals 1.8. And I'll continue this video here in the next video.